Howdy folks, and welcome back to another episode of Mingles with Jingles. Now, there's an excellent chance that by the time you see this video, I will have finally reached 200,000 subscribers, which is just wow. I mean, I do try not to swear too much in my videos. I mean, sometimes I just can't resist the urge. But, you know, because there's all kinds of people of different ages watching these videos. But shit, man, 200,000 subscribers? You guys have got an extremely low boredom threshold, don't you? I mean, fuck, is there just nothing else to watch on YouTube or something? Haven't you got anything better to do? I mean, no, really, that's just amazing. You know, thank you guys so much for watching all the crap I put up every day. It really is amazing. And you know what, while I'm in the mood for thanking people, there's something else that I bitch about far too often, and I really don't give enough credit for. And that's all the guys that send me PMs in World of Tanks, War Thunder, whatever, while I'm playing. Thank you. Thank you for your kind wishes, because the overwhelming majority of you, that's exactly what it is. It's just people wanting to say hello and thank me for putting videos up. And and I really shouldn't bitch about it. You're just being friendly. So thank you to everybody who PMs me and sends me messages when I'm playing World of Tanks, when I'm playing War Thunder. Thank you for all your kind wishes. I'm still not answering you. I don't want to encourage more of it. I'm not stupid. But, instead of just bitching about it all the time, thanks. I mean, you're not going to get a reply in-game, and no, I don't want to join your squad. I'm busy working. But if I'm not going to reply to you in-game, I'll reply to you here. Thank you very much, and you're completely welcome. I love putting videos up, and I love that you love watching them. Regarding 200,000 subscribers, I don't want to dwell too much on it in this episode of Mingles with Jingles. I'll be putting a separate video up to celebrate the whole 200,000 subscriber thing, and I'm going to be doing all kinds of giveaways. In World of Tanks particularly, you see, it's so much easier to do giveaways in World of Tanks because World of Tanks has a gift shop. War Thunder doesn't. But I will definitely be doing all sorts of giveaways in the live streams that I do with Circumflexes and Quickie Baby. I am going to be joining. I haven't asked them yet, but I'm sure they won't say no. Rita Gamer, I'm going to be joining her live stream, doing some giveaways there as well. I'm going to be joining Merlanthus's live stream, doing giveaways on that as well. Probably going to have to organise something for War Thunder, even though it's very, very difficult to give away prizes for War Thunder. I have had a word with those kind people over on Duxter, and they have agreed to sponsor a War Thunder live stream where you'll get to play with or against me in private custom battles, and there are going to be some random giveaways of prizes from Duxter for the people who join in on that, because I don't want to just keep ducking the issue with War Thunder, because there's plenty of people that come to the channel just to watch the War Thunder videos, and it's difficult to give stuff away to the War Thunder players because War Thunder doesn't have a gift shop that you can just send things to other players in the way that you can in World of Tanks. So we're trying to figure out something to do for War Thunder as well. There ain't going to be a replay contest. That's one thing I can guarantee you. The last time I ran a replay contest, I think it was 150,000 subscribers, 3,500 replays I had to watch. I'm currently sitting with over 8,500 unread emails in my inbox anyway. There is no way I'm going to encourage you to send even more in, so no replay contest this time around. But I'm definitely going to be giving away all sorts of stuff for War Thunder, World of Tanks, what have you, to celebrate 200,000 subscribers. More on that in an upcoming video very, very soon. Next subject, the Project Man Cave videos, all the toys I've been buying to decorate the spare room and turn it into my my gaming study. The reason there haven't been many Project Man Cave videos up recently is simply because pretty much everything has arrived. There are a couple of things, for example, the tank models that I bought at the Bovington Tank Museum on Valentine's Day. There's a Catwoman figure that arrived from, I think it was Sideshow Collectibles. I could have done unboxing videos on those, but I decided not to. I'd wait until the man cave was complete, and then you'll get a video of the whole thing with a new computer setup, everything on display, and you'll see the finished version. And of course, all of the other stuff that I already had and didn't manage to include in bonus clips at the end of the unboxing of all the new stuff that arrived. So basically there's going to be one more Project Man Cave video, and it's going to be the finished article. I know people have been asking to see my gaming setup. You're going to see all of that. You're going to see the room where all the magic happens. Related to that, and the reason why over the last week certainly, a lot of the videos that I've put up have been, well, they haven't been short, but they've been shorter than you may have been used to here on my channel, is simply because I am actually in the process of building the man cave. I've been to IKEA and I've bought shelves, display cases, a new computer desk, all sorts of stuff, and I am really crap at putting it all together. I'm about a third of the way through. I've already got 2 of the display cabinets set up, and they've got all sorts of stuff in them, but I'm running out of space. I mean, it's kind of at that stage at the moment where I'm halfway there, and I've still got the old furniture, but I've got to move the old furniture out now and find somewhere to dispose of it before I can continue building the rest of the stuff. So that's probably going to take, I hesitate to give a time frame, at least another week before it's all ready. Plus the new computer hasn't arrived yet. It's got a lead time of 18 to 20 days because they have to actually build the thing to my specifications. And then obviously install the software I've ordered, and then run it all in, make sure it all works, and so on, and then ship the thing to me. So we're probably looking at, in about 2 weeks, Project Man Cave will be complete, and the last Project Man Cave video will be up showing you the whole thing, you know, with everything set up, and you'll finally get to see my gaming cave. So anyway, 800 videos uploaded, 200,000 subscribers, 45 episodes of Mingles with Jingles, 44,964,327 video views, 439 million 56,523 estimated minutes of video watched, 916,000 likes, 19,000 dislikes, 427,000 comments, 4,659 shares, and 40,000 favourites added later. We finally arrive here. Mingles with Jingles, episode 45. Let's get those questions answered. This one comes from Ken Anderson. He comes from Norway, and he has been reading with some amusement, as you probably should, the news from the Daily Mail that British soldiers have been forbidden to take part in the annual winter exercises in Norway because it's too cold. Ken thinks this is hilarious, and it would be hilarious if there was even a shred of truth in it, Ken. It's complete horse shit, as is most of what you read in the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail, Ken, is one of those newspapers that is not even of any use as toilet paper because you wipe more shit on than you wipe off. The Ministry of Defence issued a statement basically denying the whole story because it's bollocks, and the Daily Mail didn't even have the balls to publish a retraction. Instead, all they did was remove the webpage with the offending story on it and pretended it never happened. If you had to check, I mean, there's a number of people have published the links to the so-called story, and if you click on any of those links, all you get at the Daily Mail's website is a 404 page not found error. Yeah, it sounds like a funny story, and if it was true, it would be, but it's complete bollocks. The Ministry of Defence has stated that British troops regularly train on winter exercises in Norway in temperatures of minus 30 degrees and below. The Royal Marines in particular have been exercising in Norway every year since forever, and they still do. So, yeah, sorry Ken, but don't believe everything you read in the newspapers, particularly if that newspaper involved is the Daily Mail, because 99% of everything published in that piece of shit is designed for one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to stir up the moral outrage of the middle classes. They've usually got some racial or ethnic group they're trying to stir up hate on. Usually it's Muslim immigrants. Lately it's been Romanian gypsies for some reason, I don't know. It's a hateful newspaper. Everything they say should be treated as a lie unless proven otherwise, because 99% of the time, a lie is exactly what it is. Next question comes from the Dario, and he wants to know, Jingles, what do you think about the all-new graphical enhancements that are coming to World of Tanks and their obvious comparison with War Thunder? And, you know, this takes me back to when I was doing the World of Warplanes videos. And I made at the time what I thought was a really good point, but of course nobody remembers it. All they remember is, oh my god, Jingles said World of Warplanes was bad, and World of Warplanes was bad. And that's why I said World of Warplanes was bad. But what I also said was World of Warplanes could only get better, and I hoped World of Warplanes did get better, and it did get better. It still wasn't very good, but it got better, and it continues to get better, and it needs to, not for wargaming and not for Gaijin, but for you and me, the gamers, because it's never a healthy situation for somebody to be utterly dominating a market, whether that's War Thunder dominating the arcade flight sim market, or World of Tanks dominating the arcade tank game market. You need competition to stimulate the companies making these games to keep innovating and keep trying to outdo each other. Otherwise we end up with, you know, nothing new. And so, yeah, I do 100% fully believe that the whole new updated graphics and Havoc physics and HD tank models that are coming in World of Tanks are a direct response to the shiny graphics of War Thunder and Ground Forces, and I 100% expect Wargaming to never ever admit that. To never admit that they consider War Thunder to be a threat. But I don't care whether they admit it or not, as long as they keep improving their game. You know, the two companies are entirely welcome to keep denying that they take each other seriously. I don't give a shit. Just keep improving the game. We know the truth. You know, enjoy living your little fantasy. Don't care. Just keep improving the game. And that's why, even though I don't like World of Warplanes, I wish it every success. And again, you know, this was the one point that I felt was the most important point in any of my World of Warplanes videos, but which of course just got ignored amidst the whole, oh my god, Jingles said World of Warplanes sucks, was that World of Warplanes needs to be better than it is. Otherwise, Gaijin can afford to sit on their arse and not innovate in War Thunder, and that's not a good situation for us, the consumers. So I wish World of Warplanes every single possible success. In fact, you know, I might take another look at World of Warplanes. If you don't hear anything from me, you know, if you don't see a World of Warplanes video in the next couple of weeks, it's probably because I did take another look at World of Warplanes and I thought, yeah, it still sucks. And thought it best not to put yet another video up saying, hey, guess what, World of Warplanes sucks. So yeah, there you go, there's my thought on that subject. You know, like I said 6 months ago, it was as true then as it is today. Of course, competition between the two companies in such a tight, small market is guaranteed to produce innovation, and you know, that's fantastic, because the only people that can benefit from that are you and me, the gamers. I've been getting a lot of questions lately about various different nationalities, and you know, I suppose I've only really got myself to blame for it. I made a big fuss about Canada a couple of episodes of Mingles with Jingles back, but you know, it started before that. A couple of months back I was lavishing my attentions on Australia and having a really good dig at the Australians. Yeah, it didn't mean anything by it, of course, it's just messing around. And I'm pretty sure that most Australians got it, because, you know, that's the regarded as being the kind of Australian sense of humour, where they're always having a dig at each other and trying to wind each other up, and that's a very British, well, certainly a British military sense of humour as well. But you know, you've got to be careful making generalisations about nationalities, and I do try not to, even though sometimes I go ahead and do it without even thinking, as I very, very nearly did just there. You know, I had a dig at the Australians, but the Australians get it. Well, how do I know that? I haven't met all Australians. But, you know, I keep getting these questions. Jingles, what do you think of Americans? Jingles, what do you think of Slovakians? Jingles, what do you think of Italians? Well, I don't know. I haven't met all Italians. I haven't met all Americans. I've never met an American I didn't like, but that doesn't mean I can't. You know, it's one of those things. People often say, oh, America, they're this, that, and that, and that, and that. Well, you know, it's important that you make a distinction between the people and the government. And I'm not just talking about America, I'm talking about every nationality. Because it's perfectly fine to not be happy with, for example, American foreign policy, while still liking American people. You know, you have to draw a line between the two. There's plenty of American people who aren't particularly happy with their government. Just to draw another example, the current situation between Russia and the Ukraine. Now, I'm not going to comment on the political aspects of that whole mess because I don't know enough about it. And I try to stay away from politics wherever possible because it's just a train wreck of an argument waiting to happen. But I'm hearing a lot of people saying, oh, the Russians this and the Russians that. And, well, hang on a minute. Just because Vladimir Putin is rattling his sabre with Ukraine does not mean that Russians are arseholes. I guarantee you there are going to be millions of Russians who are absolutely horrified at what's going on in the Crimea and Ukraine and Russia's attitude towards it. I mean, even at the height of the Cold War, when most of the Western world had been conditioned into thinking that the Russians were all evil bogeymen, there were millions of Russians in Russian concentration camps, the gulags, put there for disagreeing with their own government, right? You really do need to take a step back and realise that the government and the people are not the same thing. And you can look at it from the other side as well. For example, I mean, I have nothing but respect for Poland in particular, based on the horrific suffering that that country endured during the Second World War, the way it basically got betrayed left, right and centre by its supposed allies, the suffering that the Polish people endured at the hands of Hitler, and then after the war, the suffering that they endured at the hands of Stalin and Khrushchev. But at the same time, I will never for a second say the Poles are fantastic, because I don't know all the Poles, and I'm sure that there are millions of arseholes in Poland, you know. So yeah, you know, you've got to try to guard against making broad generalisations about nationalities. Otherwise, you end up sounding like one of those wankers who writes stories for the Daily Mail, who are currently trying to convince the British that all Romanians are scum because, I don't know, no idea why. Presumably they've run out of bad things to say about Muslims. And yeah, again, Romania, another great example. I met a whole bunch of Romanian sailors in Portsmouth Dockyard years ago when we were selling HMS London to the Romanian Navy. The ship's crew would come over to take the ship off our hands and sail it back to Romania, and yeah, they were a great bunch. Certainly all the ones that I spoke to. And I met a whole bunch of Romanians who'd won some sort of contest that Wargaming had run last year, and they were being invited over to the Bovington Tank Museum as guests of Wargaming. And the day before they went, there was a Bournemouth community meet where a whole bunch of people who played World of Tanks and historians and what have you met up at a pub in Bournemouth, and I met a bunch of Romanian guys there, and you know, they were great. And while it's definitely true that every single Romanian I have ever met has been fantastic, I'm not prepared to go out and say all Romanians are fantastic, because I haven't met all Romanians. What I am prepared to stake my reputation on is that not all Romanians are scum, which is what the Daily Mail apparently would have us all believe. I guess what I'm saying is that, you know, if you're going to form an opinion on a nation or a race or, you know, any group of people, at least base it on your own experience rather than what you've heard on the news, because the news lies. And I do realise that having said that, there's going to be thousands of you out there thinking, oh shit, here we go. I didn't realise Jingles was a member of the Tinfoil Hat Brigade. Seriously, Jingles, they're not all out to get you. Well, yeah. But I do mean it when I say the news lies. And I'm not just talking about the crap with the Daily Mail and the British Army not being allowed to go to Norway because it was too cold. Sincerely, the news does lie. And if you don't believe me, I can prove it. Because the news has actually been to court to defend its right to lie, and won. There's quite a famous story, although not nearly as famous as it needs to be, about a couple of journalists that used to work for Fox News, and they were doing a documentary on... The details aren't important. The point is, Fox News asked them to distort the truth, which is a fancy way of saying to lie about the results of the documentary. They refused. Fox fired them. They sued. It got very, very messy, but the end result was Fox actually won the court case. And I quote, "The attorneys for Fox News, owned by media baron Rupert Murdoch, argued that the First Amendment gives broadcasters the right to lie or deliberately distort news reports on the public airwaves. The Court of Appeals held that the Federal Communications Commission position against news distortion is only a policy. It's not a law, a rule, or a regulation. Fox actually aired a report after the ruling saying it was totally vindicated by the verdict, if you can believe this shit." And so, once again, we come straight back to the most popular question that I've been asked to provide an answer to on this week's Mingles with Jingles. Jingles, what do you think about the current situation in the Ukraine? And once again, I don't think anything about the current situation in the Ukraine because I do not know enough about what is going on in the Ukraine, and I guarantee none of you know what's going on in the Ukraine either, because the only thing you know is what you've heard on the news, and the news lies. The only people watching this episode of Mingles with Jingles who actually know what's happening in the Ukraine are probably my Ukrainian viewers, and even they are not going to have the full picture because most of what they know they're going to have heard from the Ukrainian news. If you want to know what's going on in the Ukraine and the Crimea at the moment, don't rely on the news networks for your information, seriously, because you're only going to get a distorted version of the truth designed to basically satisfy the needs of whoever's paying the advertising budget of whichever news service you're listening to. If you want to know what's really going on, Twitter. Seriously. Twitter is probably the best place for you to find out. Tweets from people on the ground who are actually witnessing what's going on. And there are certainly going to be, journalistic news sources out there that are genuinely trying to report the truth as they see, as they see it. But how do you know which ones to believe and which ones are going to be, spinning the truth to suit their own political agenda? You've got no way of knowing. Well, I suppose the BBC are pretty good, and I'm not just saying that because I'm British. The BBC is a non-profit news organisation. It's not funded by advertising. So, as far as journalistic integrity goes, the British Broadcasting Corporation is considered to be pretty damn good, and the British World Service in particular is generally regarded as an unbiased source. But as with everything in life, you shouldn't just believe the first thing you hear because it's the first place you heard it. You've got plenty of options. There's the internet, there's Twitter, there's blogs, there's websites, there's Facebook posts from people on the ground. There's any different number of ways of getting the information that you might not necessarily get on the news and making your own mind up. And that's the important thing. Get the information from as many different sources as possible. Draw your own conclusions. Don't just believe what you hear on the news because you heard it on the news. Right, anyway, wow, that got a bit political, didn't it? Don't worry, I promise not to do that again. I'm going to have to bring this week's episode of Mingles with Jingles to a close. I'm sorry, I really just haven't had time for a wanker of the week this week. I know you all like that segment. I'll make it up to you next week, I promise. But it's been one of those weeks. Everything seems to be happening at the same time. I'm building furniture for the man cave. I've just reached 200,000 subscribers. Duxter is about to relaunch their World of Tanks portal. I'm getting involved in that. They're launching a War Thunder portal as well. I'm getting involved in that. I've got various different giveaways on live streams. So a slightly shorter than normal Mingles with Jingles this week. But, it was 24 minutes. It wasn't that short. And all sorts of good stuff coming in the weeks ahead with the 200,000 subscriber celebration. I'm going to give them all sorts of stuff away. I'm just, I'm really happy about the whole thing. Unfortunately, it means I'm busy as a bag full of badgers. And so the videos that you're getting, certainly up till now in the last week, have probably been a bit shorter than you're used to. But, there's short and then there's short. Short by my standards means that the video is only 20 minutes long. So, they're still pretty long. Anyway, as always, folks, take care out there. Have fun playing whatever the hell it is you're playing. And I will catch you next time.